Hey there, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing Singapore Airlines business class on board the Airbus A350-900 on my recent journey in June 2025 between Singapore and Jakarta. I'm going to be reviewing the pre-flight experience, including the Singapore Airlines business class lounge at Changi Airport, and then, once we get on the plane, I'm going to review the seat, the food and drink, the overall flight experience, and of course, our landing into Jakarta Soekarno-Hatta Airport. Our flight today between Singapore and Jakarta clocks in at just over 900 kilometers and barely an hour in the sky, making it one of the shortest flights on the Singapore Airlines network. My journey today begins with a car ride to the airport. I was feeling lazy and Grab fares were pretty low, so I decided to take a taxi instead of taking the train. Fortunately, Singapore has built a road that effectively goes directly from the central business district to the airport and can take as little as 15 minutes if your driver puts his foot down. Today was one of those days, and before I knew it, I was pulling in to Changi Airport Terminal 3. Now, I should at this point flag that my flight was actually departing from Terminal 2. However, I decided to arrive at Terminal 3 because the lounges are far superior here. I'll review the lounge later in the video. Check-in was quick and efficient with virtually no queue, and in no time at all I had my boarding pass in my hand heading towards immigration. As is usual at Singapore, immigration took no time at all, comfortably under a minute, and so it was now time to walk to the lounge, which is about a 5-minute stroll to your left. Just opposite immigration, you will see the famous sign and escalator that will take you up to the SilverKris lounge, which is Singapore Airlines' business class lounge at Changi Airport. The lounge was not too crowded today. This is probably because I was neither flying at the end of the day or at the beginning, so there would be fewer travellers at this time. Now, I've reviewed this lounge fully in a separate video, which I'm going to link at the end of this one, so I'm not going to do too much detail here. Needless to say, I sat down and got my usual sparkling water and Diet Coke, and also a coffee because it was early. I also had a small bite to eat, consisting of some very tasty dim sum. I also ordered a made-to-order sandwich from one of the chef stations. This tasted a lot better than it looks, and the bacon was a nice touch. Having had my snack, it was time to head to the gate to board our plane. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, please subscribe. Now, you might remember I said earlier that my flight was departing from Terminal 2. I only came to Terminal 3 to use the lounge, because it's far better than the Terminal 2 lounge. However, at Changi Airport, there is a very quick and convenient way to get between terminals, even after you've cleared immigration. They offer a SkyTrain service. This departs roughly every 5 minutes, and the journey time takes only about 2 minutes. The train is located approximately a 3 to 4 minute walk away from the lounge, so if you budget about 15 minutes to get between terminals, most of the time you will have time to spare. As you can see here from the video, it was a beautiful sunny day, so I got some great shots along my journey. It really didn't take that long, and in no time at all, I was pulling in to Terminal 2. My flight today was departing from gate E22, which is unfortunately one of the farthest gates away from the SkyTrain. However, I'm not complaining. Terminal 2 is a beautiful terminal, and after about 15 minutes, I arrived and got a shot of the Airbus A350 that was going to take me today to Jakarta. I boarded pretty much straight away and went to my seat. I was pleased to see that this was the long-haul Airbus configuration, not the regional one. This is slightly wider and gives you a bit more legroom, as well as some extra storage compartments to your left. As I took my seat, the crew came round to offer a pre-departure beverage. I went for the orange juice, although I will note champagne was on offer. As you can see to your left, there is a very large storage compartment that also comes with a universal power socket for you to charge your devices, although the charging of power banks is no longer allowed. Unlike the regionally configured planes, there's actually a lot of legroom if you put the bed into lie-flat mode. The seats, lights and call button are all controlled by these manual controls, which I will say are very intuitive and easy to understand. Also on the left is an additional storage compartment in which they've put your headphones and a bottle of water. Another cool feature that I saw, that I had to sort of film at an awkward angle so as not to feature in it myself, is there is a mirror in the back of the seat, handy if you need to adjust your hair or makeup. I was very pleased to see that post-COVID, Singapore Airlines has returned to paper menus. Let's take a look inside. By the way, going forward in my videos, I'm going to be scanning the menus instead of taking videos of them. Let me know in the comments if you prefer this. For food, impressively, they're serving a 3-course meal, despite the flight being barely over an hour. I'll be reviewing this later in the video. For the drinks, again, despite such a short flight, a full bar is operated, including champagne, numerous white wines, numerous red wines, and a fortified wine. The headphones are Singapore Airlines' own brand headphones. They're high quality, they're noise cancelling, they're padded, and they were very comfortable for a 1-hour flight. Although I have worn them on a longer flight, and they can irritate your ears after a few hours. As you can see here, the cabin is laid out in a 1-2-1 configuration. This is a proper long-haul configuration used for much longer flights. After about 20 minutes on the ground, we began our pushback from the gate and our taxi to the runway. As we taxied, Singapore Airlines played their in-flight safety video.
On behalf of Singapore Airlines, we hope you have a great time on board as well as in Singapore or anywhere else in the world we take you.
Apologies for the awkward angle there. One negative of this seat is that it catches a large amount of glare, so it was nigh on impossible to film that safety video without my reflection showing up on the screen. Anyway, time for takeoff. That was an incredibly smooth takeoff, and in no time at all, we were airborne. The in-flight entertainment is controlled by this remote with a digital screen, which helpfully displays the flight time remaining. As we had just taken off, there is 1 hour and 10 minutes to go. Owing to the extremely short flight time, the crew sprang straight into action once the seatbelt signs were off and began the meal service. Understandably, given the short flight, all 3 courses were served at the same time on a single tray. The starter was the marinated scallop salad. This tasted really good. The scallops were fresh and flavorful, and the salad counteracted it nicely. For the main course, I ordered off the special Singapore Airlines Book for Cook menu and got the traditional chicken rice, which I was pleased to see also came with the standard accompaniments of garlic, chili, and dark soy sauce. This was tasty and also authentic. It tasted just like you'd get in a hawker centre. For dessert, it was the chocolate mousse cake. This was okay, nothing to write home about. I will note that the meal was served with Singapore Airlines' signature garlic bread. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is possibly the best garlic bread in the sky. Really tasty and just the right kick of garlic. Having finished my meal, I went to the toilets. I will note that these were very nicely decorated and a decent size. There's plenty of room to move around, and I didn't bang my head on the wall, which I do on some smaller aircraft. I've got to say, I really liked the design here. Aside from the fact that they were spotlessly clean, I really liked the dark wood panelling finish. I was also glad to see that Penhaligon's toiletries were provided, including an eau de toilette. Penhaligon's is a high-end London brand, so Singapore Airlines certainly didn't skimp on cost providing this. They also provided a tray that had pretty much every amenity you could want, from shavers to toothbrushes to combs. All in all, this was a really nice toilet. I'm glad to see that Singapore Airlines made an effort to differentiate it from a standard economy toilet. I returned to my seat, and with about 25 minutes left to land, the captain came on the intercom and announced we were beginning our descent into Jakarta. Very impressively, with literally 25 minutes to land, I asked if I could get an espresso coffee, and the crew said this would not be a problem. They didn't say to drink it quickly, although it was kind of implied from their tone. A quick gulp of my coffee later, and Jakarta's skyline came into view. A super smooth landing, and we were taxiing to the gate. The taxi to the gate today took approximately 10 minutes, which wasn't too far, and we arrived into Terminal 3, which is Jakarta's newest and most modern terminal. As there is no first class on board the Airbus A350, business class passengers were the first to deplane, and about 5 minutes after we pulled into the gate, I was walking to immigration. Arrival into Terminal 3 is always super smooth. I'm able to use the electronic immigration gates, which means I'm through to the baggage collection area in no time at all. One thing that always impresses me about Jakarta Terminal 3 is what a wonderful impression they do when you're waiting for your bags. Seriously, this looks so cool and modern and is a nice introduction to Indonesian culture, a really great welcome to the country. The bags came out quickly and there was no queue at customs, which meant I was very fast to get into my car, which was going to take me to central Jakarta. Overall, for me, this was a solid 5 out of 5 star flight. The experience at Changi Airport was a breeze, and the lounge is honestly one of the best business class lounges in the world, at least in my opinion. I was also pleased to see that we had the long haul seat configuration once we got on the plane. Short of flying first class, this is just about the best seat you can have to take you between Singapore and Jakarta. Considering it was a 1-hour flight, it was so impressive to get a 3-course meal. Bear in mind, a lot of American airlines for a 1-hour flight will offer you nothing or a small snack at best, let alone a 3-course hot meal. And the chicken rice? Genuinely authentic. It tastes just like you would get in Singapore and was very good. To top it off, the service was phenomenal. Singapore Airlines normally sets a high standard anyway, but this flight went above and beyond. The fact that the crew went to such lengths to ensure I could have a last-minute caffeine hit before landing, truly above and beyond. Now, you might say that business class is not needed for a 1-hour flight to Jakarta, and I would 100% agree with you. It's not. For a flight of this length, economy, or even a budget airline would be perfectly adequate. However, the amount of air miles or cash needed to top up to business is not that great given it's such a short flight, and if you have miles or cash to burn, it's just about one of the best ways you can get between these two countries. Highly recommended.